He Knows, a January 95 whelp by Slaneyside Hare out of I Know You, was the scourge of English bookmakers. Before we see some of his great races, let's have a quick look at his breeding. Slaneyside Hare, of course, by Skellig's Tiger out of Slaneyside Queen. I Know You goes back to some great dam line of Ballandry Sand, and of course sired by Kyle Jack. Let's have a look at him in action now in the heat of a Stones 5000, over 500 metres at Sheffield. He Knows 4-1 anti-post favourite for this competition, which included great dogs such as Quick Tune and Some Picture. El Grand Signor is in trap 2. That one went on to win the Laurels and the Grand Prix. And in trap 4 was Quick Tune, the Blue Riband winner. And of course, Some Picture, we know what happened to him, didn't we? He won the English Derby. And unfortunately, he's not to get into this race because He Knows in trap 3 has again held an early advantage and battling all the way with Quick Tune. El Grand Signor checks up there and ruins his chances. But look at the way that He Knows, the young puppy, completely discounts the attentions of Quick Tune, the experienced open racer, and wins by a length in the heat. Well, 3 months later, Connection sent him to Ireland for the Paddy Power Puppy Stakes. He won his first round well. Here's his second round performance, where he scores in 29.29. When you consider this is late November at Shelbourne Park, we all know the going there gets a bit sticky in the winter. It's probably about 40 slow. So a sensational clocking here by He Knows. Trap 4 Eagle Boy is backpedaling a bit. Trap 6 is going to finish second to He Knows here. That's Bellevue approach, but really no chance of the winner. And a sensational 29.29 on winter going. Well, He Knows made it through to the final, but unfortunately for the Connections, drew trap 4 up against a good lineup here, including Conway Ash in 5. £10,000 to the winner. Will he justify his Connections' decision to send him across the Irish Sea for a 4-round competition? Well, they must have been very sad at the traps there. He didn't get a good break and was bumped badly by the 2-dog. Going out of the second bend, he's lying in 4th place, having tracked cleverly round the first 2 bends. But he's still got plenty of work to do. Ricky de Spark in trap 1 is ahead of him by a couple of lengths. How's he going to get past him? And the answer was with consummate ease. £10,000 going straight into his Connections pocket. After such a poor start, it's hard to see him winning that race so comfortably. On now to the start of his 1997 campaign, and he went to Shawfield for a trial stakes for the Scottish Derby to see how he'd handle the Glasgow circuit. Well, absolutely no problems for He Knows. Here he is in trap 3, he's in the lead. Pictures are slightly poor quality, apologies for that, but he's going to go away and win this very comfortably in 29.12 seconds. He was 7-2 on favourite that day, so his reputation definitely preceded him up to Scotland. After this performance, they made him 6-4 anti-post favourite for the Scottish Derby, a very short price indeed for such a classic competition. Just for your reference, Some Picture was made 4-1. Well, here's He Knows his first round performance. He's in trap 5, and watch the trouble he's involved in here. A bad draw, he has to cut across to the rails. Look at that, cleverly gets into the gap and just gallops around the first 2 bends to take up an unassailable lead down the back straight. His time here, 29.11 seconds, 29.11, the fastest time of the Scottish Derby. And for those who took the 9-1 on offer about He Knows that day, had a few heart murmurs at the start, but he did well around the first 2 bends. Unfortunately, he crashed out from an awful draw in the semi-finals, and he went back to his home track of Sheffield to contest the Embassy Cup. Other names to note here, Pond Bogart in 5, and Eagle Boy again in trap 2. But here he blasts out the traps, He Knows, in trap 3. Shows supreme early pace to get to the first bend in the lead, and he'll go on to set a track record here. Makes his trainer very proud to have a track record at his home track. It'll be 29.01 seconds and the Embassy Cup to collect at the end of this race. Eagle Boy plugging on gamely along with Pond Bogart in He Knows his wake, but never had a chance with him there on that running. All roads now led to Plough Lane, Wimbledon of course, where the Derby was held. And He Knows attended a Derby trial stakes just before the competition got underway and drew trap 1, but also in the field was the Savers' latest wonder dog, Larkhill Joe. This was meant to be a match between these two, but once He Knows got a good break from one and gave Larkhill Joe a slight bump here at the first bend, and the result was never in doubt. Going on to win this in 28.53 seconds. Now after this race, He Knows had a trial and beat Clasher-Fuka, the Produce Stakes winner, by almost a distance in a flying time of 28.23 seconds. That's just outside the track record, and he was made the shortest anti-post favourite. That was 7-2 favourite, the shortest one in the history of the English Derby. The eventual winner, Sun Pictures' anti-post price, was over 3 times bigger. Unfortunately, He Knows blighted with bad trap draws throughout the whole of the Derby. Here we can see him in trap 3 in the second round. Manages to go clear around the first bend, and yet again it's all over from there. 28.47 his time on this occasion. This is one of his best runs in the Derby. Well, we all know he finished runner-up in the Derby final behind Some Picture and collected £10,000 for his efforts, and after he was bumped at the first and second bends. The dog amassed the best part of £30,000 in prize money, and probably one of his favourite, or one should say one of his trainer's favourite performances, came in a special 4-way invitation race at his home track of Sheffield. Tom's the Best in 6, of course, goes on to win the Irish Derby. Trap 4, Blue Merlin, the Ark, an East Anglian dual Derby winner. And in trap 2, the Bullaway Power, who also likes for Sheffield circuit. But He Knows leads up the class field, and from there on in, on this muddy track, he's relishing the conditions. Those other dogs have got absolutely no chance of catching him. Goes on to win in 29.16, an incredible time on such slushy going. Tom's the Best tries very hard to close the gap. Of course, you know that dog is an exceptional animal indeed, but on this occasion he had absolutely no chance with He Knows. Well, soon after, He Knows was sent to Sean Burke's stud in Ireland, and he sired 25 litters over the winter period. But then he was brought back for another crack at the English top races, and here we can see him in the heat of the Blue Riband at Wembley over 490 metres. He Knows in trap 2 here. Alongside him in trap 3 is Rebel Leader on a bound in 5, who makes the final of the Blue Riband. And of course, in trap 1, Seskin Judy, the very fast bitch trained by Tony Meek. But here He Knows has already gone to the front down the back straight, even though trap 5 on a bound. And trap 3, Rebel Leader, try to catch him. There's no pegging back, He Knows. We know his style of running. Very strong when he hits the front, and he wins this in 29.13. And as you can see, the going at Wembley, very slushy on this March evening. So a comfortable victory there in the second round of the Blue Riband. On now to the final, where He Knows was in a tricky-looking trap 3 draw with the fast-starting Tullerboy Cash and Potto Storm inside him. And because of his draw, the punters deserted him and went for the trap 5 runner, Tom's the Best. He was favoured on the night. He Knows, second favourite. Expecting Tullerboy Cash and Potto Storm to lead up He Knows, and they do. Potto Storm gets a good break, as with Tullerboy Cash. But He Knows, as we know, is no slouch from the traps, and apart from getting bumped at the first bend there, he takes up quite a handy position turning into the back straight. Now, of course, Tullerboy Cash, a Derby finalist in 1998, is a very fast hound indeed. But when He Knows is breathing down your neck, just a couple of lengths off you coming to the third bend, you know you haven't got much of a chance. And Tullerboy Cash eventually surrenders his lead. He Knows wins the Blue Riband. Tom's the Best running on well, but never going to catch He Knows. 29.22 the winning time. Yet again, slushy conditions at Wembley Stadium. Connections there on the podium, very proud, receiving the trophy, and of course the £7,500 first prize for He Knows. The He Knows, very strongly fancied in the Derby again, was backed all throughout the winter. But here we see him in the third round, where he's got trap 1. Plagued by bad draws throughout the Derby, he finally gets his best box. But on this night, the third round, the going was so slushy that nobody fancied A, any dog to come from behind, and B, any dog to take it up on the slush-filled rails slot. Well, unfortunately, the demise of Didikoy there took the 6-dog Fred Be Lucky out the race, but look at the blinding back straight pace of He Knows there. No worry about the going for him, and he completely blitzes past Broken Quest, a dog that recently broke the track record at Milton Keynes. And there he goes to the cheers of the crowd. He Knows wins the third round of the Derby. Well, unfortunately, a nagging injury throughout the competition finally got the better of He Knows in the Derby, and he was retired to stud, permanently to stud, soon afterwards.